so ready to smoke your shit.
Do you see this big stain on my pants? I think I could cut holes in it. I was gonna throw away these jeans, but jeans and clear our throat away from the microphone.
Okay, so I've got a little bit of a new introduction today. An intro after the intro.
No.
What? Reel it in. You ever let me reel it in you? Stop looking at you.
Get it together.
Okay, so if this information has ever helped you at all, I've got one ask for you, and that is to share this content. The reason we do this podcast is to help people. So I'm a little bit of an ask here. I'm asking you to help us help more people. Therefore, you are helping people as well. So share this on your stories, share this, send this, copy this, anything you can do so we can all together help more people.
Today's going to be awesome. Today, we're going to talk about increasing the prices of services, which I think it's something we've been talking about a lot in GrowCom the past month or two. But right now, it's the beginning of January. And for many of us, I mean, for us in Florida, we're still doing services. But like in Illinois, we're about to launch our spring. Services are about to start up. And we are evaluating the cost of doing business. And so much has changed, even just since last year, in terms of pricing. So from an administrative standpoint, I want to acknowledge first that it is challenging to increase your pricing across the board, especially if you're like us and you're serving hundreds of clients. I mean, that's like a big task in and of itself. Mm-hmm. And so you need a CRM that makes that easy, even if you're only serving 50 clients. I mean, that's still a big time suck. You need to know how much to increase. And then you need to figure out how to tell everybody, which is like the big thing I think that holds a lot of people back. So we're going to talk about all that today. But first, I want you to tell me what happens if you do not increase your pricing.
Well, if you've already had pain in your business because you're struggling, even though you're so busy and you're so slammed with doing all this work and you're just running on the little hamster wheel as fast as you can, that pain will get worse. That's really it. You know, whatever, not raising your prices right now, whatever pain you had is just going to get worse. It's just going to amplify. It's just going to grow because whether you do it or not, costs are increasing all around you. So you are theoretically either raising your prices or your business is just taking a pay cut. So you got to decide which side of the card you want to be on. Where do you want to be? Do you want to at least maintain your potential profitability, or even if were you profitable or not? Because if you weren't profitable, this is going to make you even less profitable. If you were profitable, this will make you maintain. If you are riding the fine line, this will push you just from barely profitable to not profitable. And that's a big deal in business. Like it's a challenge. You'll always have to be chasing these things.
So let's talk about this CRM, how you can do this in a CRM, because truly I don't know the answer to this. Like we use Service Autopilot. So how do you go in? Do you have to manually go in? And let's say we're just talking about a service like Mowing, where we know it's going to auto renew. It's going to start up for all of these clients come spring, because that's how our terms of service is set up. And how do you change can you just do it across the board, increase everything, or do you have to go into each client and increase?
Unfortunately, you do have to you're going to have to get verification from these people that that's okay. I mean, you can blast out emails that the costs are raising, but you're going to have to go into the individuals and increase their pricing. What's nice we use Service Autopilot is I trained someone to update our price matrices, and that's how all the estimates are done through GPS. So all our new pricing is automatically going to be correct. But yeah, everything old is going to have to be redone. But all in all, it's not the slowest process in the world going through the services, and it's really good. Anyone that's using a CRM right now, this is another good thing. Like going through your services as you've changed, as you've built, now it's a really good time to go through your services and make sure your budgeted hours are correct too. So as they're going through there, they're going to be upping the prices and correcting and making the budgeted hours correct to the new price, which is something that needs to be evaluated, needs to be checked all the time as well. And that's something that I feel like we've maybe dropped the ball on changing budget at ours in the past. So it's going to catch us up on that as well.
Well, I think it's really cool too, because you just have the overall opportunity to go into each client account, verify everything's correct, maybe look and see, is that card on file about to expire? Do I need to be contacting them about that? Is there anything maybe in this client's account that I have dropped the ball on, or I could check in with them on? It's like a great time to do that, especially if you are going to take the time to individually reach out to your client base, especially if you have a smaller client base. I mean, that's so cool that this is sort of forcing your hand to just like double check on everything, probably in the off season before everything gets crazy again. Okay, so now I want to ask you, and I know you have some really cool stuff to say about it because I've already heard you talk about it in GrowCom, but how do you know how much to increase your pricing? Because that could be something that, I mean, numbers is already something that when you start talking about numbers, so many people are like, holy shit, I don't know. And it's just like a frazzle point or a pain point. So how would you know how much to increase?
So from that standpoint, I think what I would look at, when I made our percent increase, I just made a call because we had to start selling fertilizer. And there's a lot of stuff, the longer you go in business, the more you'll start just trusting your gut. And that's not a good answer for this because, if you're unsure and you're worried about it, you need a more detailed and a more descriptive way to do it. So if I was going to do the descriptive way that was not the, hey, trust your gut and just do what you think, it would be that I would be looking at what was my current rate that I was charging. Now, fertilizers, let's stick to mowing because fertilizer is a little bit different because there's product involved. Fertilizers, what was my pain point because product on fertilizer is fucking skyrocketing. Like everything is just blowing out, and it's been doing that. Like this is, it's not just now. It is like it got bad this year. It ate into our profitability already. But
like we're 6 months behind we're
behind the curve. But let's keep it simple. Let's keep it mowing. So there's not any real material going out while you're mowing, right? So what I would do is I would go into like some kind of budgeting tool. However you do your budget. If you don't do your budget or you don't have anything to break it down, we have a budgeting creator like that's in GrowCom. I know, like it's
on jacobgodar.com.
It's on jacobgodar.com.
But GrowCom members
have
get
all
it.
that stuff.
Yeah.
And, another resource that I throw out there because anything that's of value, it's like I'm about the cool things that work. There's a free resource through LMN as well. Like they've got a really cool budgeting tool. The thing about theirs is it makes it so you have to know so much numbers that it could be intimidating for you. But let's make this short and simple. Whatever your rate that you were charging before per hour, okay, if you didn't have some kind of equation to come to that and you were just guessing, okay, there's already a problem there. We need to evaluate that. You need to go through a budget. So if you'd already went through some kind of budgeting tool and you knew, hey, I was charging, and these are thrown out numbers, so don't use these at all. I was charging $50 per man hour. What I would go and look at what costs are now, what I'm potentially cost of living have went up. Consumer goods or something have made the highest increase of 5.7% that like they have. It's the fastest inflation that people have ever seen. Like whatever. That means all of your employees are going to have more expense. If you care, you need to be able to raise what you pay them. And people are going to be expecting this because everything's getting more expensive for them. So you need to look at what am I going to have to raise their pay? And then when you factor in an average in gas and other things, like the one that we have on jacobgodar.com, you can put gas in as a line item as like an average. And so you can put that in and see your increases there. And then it spits out a new price. So what's your new hourly rate raise? So like maybe on mowing, since there's no material, it's just what you have to get per hour, right? And so I started off at 50 and then I realized, man, I needed to be at 55, 58, 60. Like I'm a rough numbers guy. The best way to do things is always play way to the good. So if it came out 55, I would say 60. I'm going to round up. I want cushion because none of this is exact. This is all made up. This is all numbers that we did last year that if hypothetically everything was exactly the same, these would be the new numbers, right? Nothing's ever the same. Like, did anybody expect what happened last year to happen? Did anybody expect like anything? Like, there's always something around the corner that you will not know. It's the new challenge on the way up the mountain that never ends in business that you have to overcome. So to make it as simple as possible, which, you know, you may or may not, if you're a numbers person or not a numbers person, think that's simple. That would be what I would do. Now, that only gets more and more complex when you get into material, and fertilizer like applications as a service are all tied together, and we just give a here's their price for the round, and we don't have material broke out in our estimates. So for us, that's harder. Landscaping is really easy because we just go and reevaluate. Fertilizer is a continuous service that goes on and on and on, and landscaping is a hunt, kill, eat, hunt, kill, eat. So after you've hunted, you have killed, and then you have ate, which eating, that would be producing the job. Then you can evaluate your project and change your pricing. We're going through a transition of getting heavy into purchase orders and heavy on staying on top of all this. That's where a lot of companies drop the ball, is they don't even cost their projects. Like, so they don't even know, like they're doing rough. They think it's good, whatever. But landscaping theoretically, can't even talk today. Theoretically is very easy. We adjust the material price and we adjust our labor rate. So just like I talked about with lawn care, we go back and we evaluate what we're wanting to pay now. So I look at we're making a big shift in our company, and a lot of it's going to be incentive based as well, because I really believe in incentivizing people to produce more, because I want winners on the team that want to produce. Like, that's what I want. And then those people should be incentivized by a lot of pay. But I put these numbers in and I factor this stuff in, and maybe that means the landscape rate needs to go from $70 to $80. Okay, cool. Labor rate's fixed, increase, whatever that percent is, fine. That doesn't matter. You don't need to warn anybody about that, because you're hunting, you're killing, and then you're eating. And by the time you do it again, you didn't have to notify anyone. So there's all these different aspects.
It's crazy. Landscaping is so much easier.
Well, easier to change the prices on.
Exactly.
Way fucking harder to manage, and way
I
harder.
totally agree. I guess it's the notification part, which is what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, there's no notification because it's just constantly flowing. But it's more stressful because you got to keep selling the stuff.
And bigger losses.
The maintenance, the potential for big losses depending on what you're doing. And the maintenance stuff is just reoccurring and then building and building and building. They're all very important, but so those are kind of the different aspects I'd look at. So the landscaping, you raise your rate the way I described for mowing, and then all your materials, you just up those accordingly to whatever they need to be.
That was a lot.
There was a lot of different stuff.
I know, I love it though. That was all very valuable. Well,
you know me, and I'm going to interrupt you again. The numbers game part of this is the most fun for me. That's what I like. I like knowing numbers fast enough to intimidate other people, not to even intimidate other people, just to be educated on an aspect that really makes all businesses go around.
Yes. Well, you are freakishly stellar with all things numbers. It freaks me out. But then we get into my freakishly stellar part, which is the
grammaticals.
PR, marketing, notification, client communication aspect, because something that keeps coming up is, how do you notify people? How do you do this in a way where you don't lose a ton of clients? And the first thing I want to touch on is, we've done this and we've talked about this. Like when we switched to cards on file, we thought that was going to be something that just took our business down. So many clients were going to fire us, and it turned out to be an incredible value add. Yeah. And we've lost,
we lost like no one.
Exactly. And if we did, that probably truly wasn't even the reason we lost them. It was probably a excuse. But when it comes to increasing your pricing, I think the biggest thing to touch on, which you already did, people see this coming. Everything's gone up. Look at what happens every time you go to the gas tank. And it doesn't matter, what your political leanings are. It's like you can look and see what's happening economically. And if your lawn guy is increasing his mowing rate by let's say 10%, then is that shocking?
Yeah. So to dig into this, you made a great correlation with credit cards on file, because it was exactly where I was going to go. Everybody, if you've made that change already in your business, there's some people in GrowCom have been talking that you know, like, are asking about credit card on file and people that have done it. And if you've already done that, you've already went through a scary process of doing something that, because your mind is based out of, we're a primitive like mind that's still that way, and it's expecting bad. Your mind is expecting bad around every corner to keep you alive.
It's almost, yeah.
And your mind is geared that way. So, oh God, we do the credit cards on file. Something bad is all of our clients leave us and I'm fucked and I starve, right? Like that's what your mind does subconsciously, whether you realize it or not. So your mind is playing that through, and whether you realize that's why you feel the way you do or not, that's why. Same for all of these things. Your mind is trying to protect you from what it perceives to be bad, whether or not you know that's what it's doing. And so when you do the cards on file, you realize not many people care because there's so many upsides about that. The amount of people that care about that are much smaller than the people that don't love it. Well, price increases, and it's not something new. Like I've read this forever. We've just never done many blanket price increases because, as we had some people mention on the team, we are one of the higher priced people. We have the potential profitability to cover, like, if there's some people that are out of line or whatever. But for all time, raising prices 5% or whatever percent, like, a lot of people, you're not going to lose as much as you think. And when you do the numbers, like when you raise, when you have an increase of X amount, you would have to lose, like, whatever that increase equates to. Say it equated to $50,000, and if you kept everything the same, kept everybody, and they all said yes, it was $50,000 more. That means you would have to lose $50,000 of service, of potential service out of all those people. You'd have to have $50,000 worth of people say, no, I do not accept that, to be back in the same place you were at before last year, but be more profitable, because now we're doing less work for the same amount. In our current situation, that's not the case because shit's getting way more expensive all the time. But yeah, people are super expecting of this. And the thing that just blew me away, the story I wanted to tell, I can't say the names, but I can say Zoe's name because we can talk about her on here. So if you don't like that, go fuck yourself. You're on this.
We love you.
We do love you, Zoe's family. If you don't know who that is, then whatever.
She's our children's godmother,
she's our children's
our office manager.
Yeah, like she's our office manager.
She's the closest thing we have to a sister. I guess I have a sister, but Zoe's still the closer
closest
than
thing I have to a sister. All right. So, but Zoe had these people that we do a lot of work for, and she just knew for sure that they were going to. I can't wait to see what they say about this. They're not going to accept this. And what did they do? They were totally fine with a price increase. Everybody in their business owners, like anyone who's in a business right now knows costs are going up, things are getting more expensive. And, you know, if there's going to be a time to increase your prices, you should get on board with it.
Well, gosh, we were at a Mexican restaurant last night, and I don't know how to describe the menu other than that it's almost like a laminated, like, folding thing where you would just put like paper. Laminated isn't the right word.
Really common for like a lot of restaurants.
Like it has it's like a plastic thing and then an interchangeable paper.
You know, but before people thought everything needed to be disposable, so you could throw it away to save.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny! I forgot about that. Anyway, on the whole front page, they had added this thing that was like a disclaimer. The first sentence that caught me was really cool, and that's what drew my attention to the rest of it. But it was like, please be cool. I think it even said like, be cool, leave politics at home, and know that we are trying to hire the best people possible. But it was basically saying like, hiring experienced servers is our main priority, but we're hiring whoever we can get to get workers. So just be cool. Like, essentially sorry if the service sucks, because it's just really hard right now.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool way they said it. But then there was also a couple paragraphs about like popular items, or it was like hot sauce or something that is like a staple on their menu that was like, we can't get that right now because it's way too expensive. So until further notice, that's gone. And we also switched this steak for that steak because the price is astronomical. And it was just like,
I think they said some prices are more expensive. The prices have raised on something.
And it was so funny and so coincidental because, and I want to kind of this is going to be pretty like behind the scenes, like real talk about what's been going on in our office lately. From a marketing perspective, it's so funny that I saw that because we've been talking about sending out this blanket notice to clients about 2022 price increases. And Jess, our new marketing specialist, was like, restaurants don't notify you when their steak goes up $2. It's not like they're going to send you an email, that's like, oh, blah, blah. And I totally resonated with that. It's like they just do it because their cost of doing business changed. And especially in food, stuff changes a lot. Go ahead.
Well, I do want to mention on this. That's like comparing maintenance to landscaping.
What do you mean? Because it's materials?
No, because restaurants don't notify you because you show up and you accept by paying the bill and you see what you pay before you buy it, right? Mowing is they've accepted a cost that they expect it to be.
I get that, but I also want to put myself in the position of an old man who goes and orders the same steak every week from his favorite restaurant and is shocked by the price that he was expecting it to be because it's gone up.
I get it.
So, whatever, though. I get it.
But they have the opportunity to say no to the new price.
Yeah, I get that. Oh, everybody has the opportunity.
It doesn't matter.
To say no.
It's just a conversation but I agree with what she's saying too, though.
But so here's where I'm at, and this is it. This is what I just promised. Like the behind the scenes conversations, we've been having all these different considerations about how to move forward elegantly, I guess, or eloquently.
Words.
From a marketing standpoint and notifying our clients and have minimal angry people, I guess. When in the same token, like the recurring theme that comes up from it is like people are expecting this. So it's not as bad as we're making it, but of course we want to handle it right. And in the way that we handle it, we also want to be able to pass on the way we handled it to everyone in GrowCom, to anybody that we're talking about this with. Like we want to do it right and we want to take all considerations into it. But basically it was like, this is a recurring service. So let's get back to mowing, like you said. And in our terms of service, it auto renews. I don't know if everyone's is set up like that because I know some businesses do, like when your mowing ends in fall, they're going to go manually contact each of them before. Stop breathing into the microphone.
I'm
You're
sorry.
driving me
They
nuts.
had to get that was a sigh of that sounds horrible. Like that's how the company we bought from, like they re-notify everyone. It's like, dude, this service continues on until you cancel.
Well, that's something too that it's almost like it's a value add with our clients is we incorporated auto renew into our most popular seasonal services a few years ago. Yes, sir.
I'm having thoughts. Well, you're hearing it live here. This is reality, right? So yeah, I mean, just in our verbiage about how our services auto renew, there just needs to be verbiage and I know that this is what you're already doing, but like just for the sake of this conversation, it might have been where she was going anyway. But verbiage about how it auto renews and the prices, you may see price increases on a yearly.
And from what that was a big consideration. From what I know at this point, our terms of service, which is available at each of our websites, if you guys want to look at it, scooterslawncare.com/terms. And then
how many pages is it?
scooterslawncareflorida.com/terms. I don't know off the top of my head. But it's what they agree upon every time they accept an estimate. But to my knowledge, what I was going to say, I don't think there is something in there that says prices could change, which like all things, like terms of service, like employee handbooks, you don't realize something is missing until you realize the need to have it. Like it's okay. Like everything is evolving. Like we have a 130-page employee handbook that I released in 2021 and then re-released in 2021 and it became a 132-page employee handbook. Like things are constantly evolving as they should be, and that really is the whole talk of this whole thing. Like don't feel like you're pigeonholed into keeping things a certain way because like our terms of service evolves. Just like you see on your cell phone that things are constantly updating, your terms are constantly updating, you have to agree to them. So do clients with our companies. So let's get back to the notification part. Is we obviously want to notify them. We want to notify them before mowing starts, which typically is the beginning of March, which gives us a little bit of time because most people should be expecting it, first of all. But second of all, we want to give them enough time that if they do feel like they should shop for another provider, then they could, But third of all, most of our clients, I would say 90% of our clients did not choose us because of price. They aren't with us because of price.
Yeah.
So this small price increase is not going to be make or break for our maintenance division. But I crafted a 2022 price increase email. I dropped it in GrowCom. Our administrative team has been reviewing it, kind of thinking about it, mulling it over. We haven't released it yet. And so that's in GrowCom if someone wanted to use it as a template. But it's basically just like spun really nicely, because how else could you, like, the gist of it is not just, hey guys, prices are going up, like you're fucked, get with it or get lost. It's like prices are going up because we know you want us to stay in business. Like, you want us to stay in business, be able to continue paying our team well, which then allows us to continue serving you well. And the prices are going up to such a point that we get to maintain the same level of profitability as we did last year. They're not going up to put more money in our pockets. They're going up so we don't drown.
Yeah. This whole conversation, pricing, dollars, all of that, the math. I just keep coming up with more stuff that I want to talk about. That this is like a little side note, and this is.
Hey, it's your podcast, man.
I want to know where we're at too on this while we talk about this. But this is really good because we're talking about lawn care, landscaping, and everything. That letter is going to help a lot of people with lawn care, and it's going to help a lot of people with fertilizer. But I want to make sure we take care of landscaping as well.
Well, I have a little thing about that. Are you talking about the letter specifically? Because I did include what they can expect as if with something with material. Because I mean, with material, it's a little like more unknown.
Is this my variable material thing?
Yeah, I know. Wait, what's that mean?
Well, so we talked about you said
that's another email I wrote.
I know, but I want to talk about that one too. Okay, because I think that brings value. Okay. And people need to know that this is something that they should be throwing out. If they're not fucking thinking about it, the whole deal is value. So, that was why I said share it, because I'm bringing everything I can every fucking time. And this wasn't on Nicole's point, so this is extra. Okay, this is big if you have a landscape company. This is fucking huge, so pay attention. I'm excited. Okay.
I didn't notice.
Let me get raged in my seat. Okay, we've talked about raising the prices. She's talked about the email that we're sending out. We've talked about all these things we can do. Landscaping, okay. I said it was pretty easy to do all this shit because it's hunt, kill, eat, whatever. But if someone locks in on a landscape quote and you're really, really booked out, prices are fluctuating so freaking quickly. Here is the one problem. Here's the flip side to landscaping not being easy. If you sell a job and now your prices are $600 more expensive for your material than when you sold it because things are changing so rapidly, we haven't sent it yet, right?
Right, and I haven't dropped it in GrowCom or anything yet. It's just been sitting here.
It's my fault. I get it. And it's as long as it's taken care of for 2022, that's what I really care about. But prices are changing so quickly. If you have paid any attention, you've noticed that a lot of your vendors are not holding prices. This is the price for the day. This is the price for the week. This is the price for X amount of time. No one's guaranteeing prices. If people aren't guaranteeing prices to you, you should definitely not be guaranteeing prices to anyone else. And really, if your vendors are telling you this, like, this is just opening the can of worms that, like, this is probably something we should have said forever, that like we
exactly.
I can guarantee whatever, but I can't guarantee my material price because that could vary.
That's not in my hands.
So, that's not in my hands. It's like here's my estimate. And here's the deal, guys. It's an estimate. Look up your homework right now is look up the definition for estimate. Actually, Nicole, do that
I will
and
do
read
the
that
homework.
when I'm done. But I mean, I know what the definition is because it's on our estimates. But where I'm going with this is you need to craft and or get ours that's about to be released, a letter that's stating to everyone, prices for materials are fluctuating. Our vendors prices are changing day by day on most of our materials. Therefore, if you've accepted a project, whatever estimate, your material price may vary depending on the completion date of the project and the current rate of materials. You got to look at what everyone else is doing. People are doing escalation clauses on construction. They can't guarantee any of this stuff because it changes, and you shouldn't sink because someone signed an estimate and now you've got to eat all this freaking astronomical raises in material. We're talking products are changing 10 and 20%, 30% at a time. Like it's insane. So you need to be, if you don't get ours and you're not on GrowCom and you don't have access to all this stuff. Like,
I'm dropping it in GrowCom right now because I actually had forgotten how good it is.
Okay, yeah. So whether it's good enough or not, they can determine that and they can hash out. Like, I know that you said we might need to make some changes personally, but it's probably good enough already. And
well, these are just templates.
They're templates for someone to tweak. But so you need to be crafting something like that for your landscape side because everybody else is doing it to you.
So I before we move on, I want to read the definition of an estimate. I'm looking at a few different ones right now. This says a value derived from the best information available to roughly calculate or judge the value, number, quantity, or extent of in an approximate calculation.
Did you say roughly?
I said roughly.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's truly what it is.
Can I tell you something this correlates with? That this is going to be mind-blowing for a lot of people. Right. You know what?
Edge of my seat.
You know what scientists do as they're learning, which a lot of people don't realize. But what's the word that scientists do as they're learning and they're testing and they're figuring things out? What do they make?
Hypothesis?
They make hypotheses. And then they have to test those. Right now, they don't have to test those. They can just say shit and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But that's how a lot of things work. That's how a lot of things are built. Like, you have to have estimates. You have to assume. You have to, and then you have to test. Like, so yes, an estimate is a rough, approximate number. It is not exact.
So truly, this delves into such a bigger conversation that is not today's conversation, but something I want people to keep in mind and think about. This conversation, when we're talking about pricing services, increasing the prices of services, let's say that this specific episode is suitable for anyone in the lawn and landscape industry, anyone cleaning houses or painting houses or any of these like labor-based things, blue-collar things that are maybe like looked at where we have to fight for respect in general. When it comes to times like these, remember who the fuck you are. Remember what you're building. Remember that you are so worthy of the same respect that anyone else is getting, that you are no different, that you, just like every other company out there, will live and die by your numbers.
Yeah.
Your numbers must be right. You have to do what's right for you. And you also have to remember, and I love our clients. And again, I don't anticipate this being something for anyone that really, where they lose a lot of clients. Like, this is just the state of the world. But there are more clients out there.
Yep.
Do not let something hold you back, because the alternative of not increasing your prices is losing your profitability slowly but surely, or in a really big way that eventually you're the person that suffers. They'll move on. But if you do, and you do it boldly, strongly, follow your gut, whatever strategy you take and however you do it, like, you are going to hang on to those incredible clients and you're going to grow and thrive.
Yeah. And like, if you haven't realized it already, and this was the first thing I realized about having higher prices anyway, pricing moves you through, like, obviously you can only, like, I can't charge someone $1 million to cut their lawn one time. Like, there's a limit to things, right? But within that threshold or whatever, pricing raises you through levels of people.
Just like we had so many people when we announced that we were going to open Florida again, which, and it probably happened the first time too, my memory's a little foggy, that were like, good luck, dude. You can't charge what you're charging in Illinois there. Good luck, dude. Nobody's spending any money there. I see it every day in the lawn care groups. Like, no money there per cut, no money. Like, and it's so funny because we came in and we charged at the same level that we're charging in Illinois, and we are thriving. It's the fear and the scarcity that you talked about earlier, that fear of bad things happening, of danger, of it not working out, whatever it is, that truly holds you back. You are the only thing that holds you back, and this entire topic is no exception.
Yeah. I mean, you need to keep pushing that, because I'm always so true and to the point. Did we start off like, we've raised our prices? You need to test, right? So,
hey, that's worth mentioning.
We started out a little bit, like, we were still comparable to like what we were probably charging within the last couple of years in Illinois. And I knew that the market here was a little harder, a little tighter, but I just feel like this is interesting for someone that's starting. So I cared less about getting thousands of Mow clients. So I want to build thousands of Mow clients, but I don't want to do it and have them all be.
It shouldn't be that easy.
It's like, it shouldn't be that easy to get 1 million Mow clients. We bought a company that, like, some of their fucking per cut was like $18. Like, in our
fastest way to go out of business.
Yeah, fastest way out to go out of business is to charge too little. There's not a whole lot of businesses how many businesses do you hear that go out of business because they charge too much? it's a much rarer thing. It's actually doesn't happen. But so, like I said, you go through the levels by charging more. And like here, we came in, we got a reasonable price. We were charging a rate that was damn close to what we charge in Illinois. And then I just kept testing. I'm like, okay, cool. The market bears that. Great. We got 20. Well, we got a bunch of land. This is why I say in your business, you should have a bunch of landscaping too, and you should sell that as well. We got a really cool video coming out on YouTube about that in addition to the original from a question. Because a person is fighting against, like, yeah, if you got to rely on building a company off of mowing, yeah, it's going to be super freaking hard. And you can't be like, you can't do what I'm about to say. You can't test the pricing by raising it because you got to have the mowing to live. Well, if you do landscaping too, then you can supplement that and then you can test the mowing. And that's exactly what we did here. I can blow up landscaping and I want to have the most profitable mowing I can have. So 3 times so far we've said, okay, cool, market takes that. Great. Well, I can't have over 100 accounts right now because that's all I want. So we're going to hit the brakes. So we get to 30 accounts. I'm like, damn, this is happening fast. Hit the brakes. Price increase. Okay, cool. We're at 60 accounts. Shit, can't believe how fast that's happening. Price increase. Hit the brakes again. And then we picked up 3 lawns in the last 2 days in the middle of the off season when lawns don't really need cut here. So like it's testing and pushing it, and you're leveling up into new clients. And then now to finish this little story, and I can see the look on your face that I'm just going off the rails.
I'm so excited to talk.
I'm excited about it. But to finish this story, here's the conversation. Here's the people. You have to have an avatar of the people you want to work with. Like, look at all the people you've worked with. Look at the people that are most fun and most exciting. They were the people that paid the most, and they didn't care about it because they expect that.
And they probably gave your guys lunch and beer.
Yeah, exactly. Then the people that pay the least want the most. They tried to whittle down your price. Then they wanted extras while you're out there. Now the conversation is the 2 people I want to tell you about. The guy I met today. While I was there, he asked me about the mowing. He said, all that makes sense. All that looks good. I mean, according to like the way your lawn is, your irrigation, everything, you need the premium service. That's the most expensive. And what did he do? He's like, yeah, all the prices look good. He had a mowing service that was mowing everything. Everything there looked acceptable. Guarantee it was who they'd paid for before. And I don't know why. He just thought we looked really reputable, and he accepted everything and moved on with it and liked us, and accepted a huge landscaping quote as well. And who knows? He probably had the service he had might have been cheaper. He didn't know. He just bought the house and it was prepaid for, right? Versus the other conversation. Show up to a house, and I don't judge or look at things, but as soon as this conversation started going, I was realizing I was like, this person doesn't care about value. All he cares about is cost. That's a very important thing. Do you care about price, or do you care about value? Because if you care about value, it comes at a higher price. Okay, so this person's like, well, it's expensive. You know, a lot of people cut these lawns for $90 and $100 a lawn, and you're saying this is $135 for the middle level, and it's $150 or $60 for the top level. And that doesn't include spraying my beds or doing this or any trimming or anything. That's just mowing my lawn. Like, so there's that person, and he's not a bad person.
He's just not your client.
He's just not our client, because we're here to bring value. Some people are here to compete on price. Okay. You can be the Walmart. I don't want to be Walmart.
Yeah, he's someone's client.
Yeah, he's Walmart. Like, so the Walmart of the lawn care industry is his provider. That's his client. And they're competing on that. You can't provide, what are the 3? Damn, I can't remember these things. You can only provide 2 of the 3. Look up that. In a service, you can only provide 2 of the 3. There's price, there's value, and there's something. Either way, you got to pick 2. It's a common saying. You hopefully can find it. But yeah, like, so a Walmart service provider would be his perfect person. And that's not a mean thing. That's just like, there are services out there that they want a bunch of volume. I know one. And he does an okay job, and he doesn't really care. Like, they care about the number of accounts, and they're going to make the sliver. I would rather have less and make more.
So
did you find the saying?
I didn't find the saying, but I did want to ask you a question based on something you said many minutes ago, which everything you just said was awesome. But so when you talk about what we did at our Florida location with testing the mowing, we are talking about a 9-10 month old location. So that's the time frame of this. I truly don't know this answer, so I want to ask, when you first started, go ahead. You just go ahead. Did you find it?
I don't know if. Oh, yeah, the Unobtainable Triangle. It's one of these three because people say this different way. They say fast, good, and cheap, but the way I've heard it is quality, speed, or price.
Yeah, fast, good, and cheap.
Yep. So it's like however way you want to say it. Quality, speed, and price. The Unattainable Triangle.
Pick two.
Pick two because it's all you can get.
There you go. Okay, so back to me. Put your phone down. I had to
do a little. You're doing all this computer research. I need to do a little phone research.
So, and we're talking about the Florida location. So you started at this lower mowing, like we've obviously increased it. So at that point,
when we say that, I want true to the tick details here, right? When we say lower, we are currently charging $60 an hour in Illinois, and that has increased since then. And when I say we're charging lesser, I had a smaller operation. I knew it could run on lesser. I was charging $55. Hear me out. Why you guys start talking? Sorry. I'm still in the middle of talking to you about what we did so you can understand and all the people listening can understand.
Okay.
God, don't give me that look.
I'm
I can
gonna
act as
give you
dumb as
that
I
look.
want.
You
I'm
are
a
the
dumb
dumb
guy.
guy.
Like if you know me, like you'll realize I do a lot of things out of pure stupidity because I like having fun.
So true.
Okay. Man, I'm about to go on a different tangent, but I got to keep it on track here.
I know, because I really want to ask this
Here,
question.
stop talking. It was 55 that we started out at. So like when people, like all these people that said we couldn't do it, we couldn't charge these things, that's a very, very, very small fucking amount off our actual Illinois prices that we have now came to and or surpassed what we were charging in Illinois before in a market where it said that you can't do that.
And so basically to hit on what I wanted to hit on, what you just did, is that we were profitable. We were profitable at that low amount. Like we were already starting at a profitable point. So then you 3 times tested and raised. What is the plan with the people? Like when we raised our price, we were raising that for new clients. So what about these people that are at a lower cost? And that is something that I just thought about, that we've never talked about, but I thought about as you were saying it, that maybe other people would want to know. How do you plan on navigating that? And is that as simple as doing what we're talking about doing here, where everyone's price just goes up?
So I did it so fast and I raised prices so fast that I just don't care about the 20 that were lower because they were already profitable. And I look at it kind of how I look at as the business overall, like in Illinois. It's not so blended here because there's not as many. It's still blended. I look at like the profitability of the company in Illinois. I look at it a blended number for profitability. We blend X percent for mowing, X percent for spraying, X percent for landscaping, X percent for this. And then we come up with our blended total. Well, I'm going to look at a blended good number because if we're already profitable and then we just continue to get more profitable, we're going to look at a blended number as a total, and it's going to inevitably get higher and higher and higher because we continue dropping people that are probably not our ideal client anyway because we started out higher. We started out higher than your average company here anyway.
We were already working
on the top, towards the top tier, just not towards, there are other people that are charging really close to what we charge and or just a little more in this area, and people think they're insane because they're not going to get as many people, but they get good people, right? There's a guy that charges I think like $5 or $10 more a month than us, and that'll be our next step that we kind of go towards. But we're already in a profitable area, and so each client we pick up continues to be more and more profitable, and a lot of those people we picked up at the beginning, I don't even care.
It is what it is.
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
And that's kind of what I expected you to say, and that's really helpful, I think, as a whole. So I want to wrap up with this. I have already dropped our 2022 price increase email template into the GrowCom Facebook group. I am about to drop the material pricing notification, basically what we had talked about, saying that we cannot guarantee material prices. That email template into the GrowCom Facebook group as well for anyone in there to tweak, or it's ready to use as is. You may have to change some things for your business. But I want to end with the same call to action we started with, which is share this if it helped you today. We all know someone in business. And like I had said, this information is applicable to everyone outside of our industry as well. So If you know someone it can help, share it with them. Copy the podcast episode link, share it on your social media, screenshot what you're listening to right now, put it on your story, tag us because we'd love to see it and we appreciate it. But that is how we can help not just ourselves, but all of our friends in business.